Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back with you to talk about the finale of Squid Game, The Challenge, Season 2. And we are back with 4.56 million reasons to celebrate. Because Chappell is here. Chappell, how are you?
Rob, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This felt so good to watch Squid Game season 2 end it, and it didn't end in rock, paper, scissors. We did it.
Yeah, interesting ending and a memorable winner for sure. With all due respect to Mai, who ended up, I believe, is that right? Checks notes, winner of Squid Game season 1. Perla, congratulations. A big character, a big factor in really most of the episodes. Storyline came in with a relative in the game, had emotional moments. So I do feel like that narratively, this was a smash success.
Absolutely. I think that season 1 they made some editing mistakes, right? They were really hiding the winner from us in a way that they were hiding a lot of the people in the final, episodes from us. And so when we got to it, we weren't really invested in a lot of their stories.
But in fairness, were they hiding them or did they not do anything?
Well, I mean, you could at least show their confessionals of them talking about themselves. Like Perla wasn't doing anything in the first couple episodes, but her personality was shining.
Right. They could have established them.
Establish them as players, for instance, Trinity. I talked about Trinity because Trinity, since episode 1, we've been seeing Trinity's point of view. He wasn't doing anything necessarily, but we definitely were hearing like his thoughts about things. We were like the camera was cutting to him for like little quips and so by the time we got to him, we were really invested in the Trinity story for sure. But they did a good job with Perla and a lot of these other people as well. Later on, they finally get to Vanessa a little bit, but way different than the way they did season 1. I think they heard the complaints about season 1 and they learned from their mistakes.
So I really don't know in the production of the show how they do it. Do they do confessionals like in the real time, like as it's going on? Of like, okay, Perla, come to the diary room. We're gonna do your confessionals now, or is it just like that? They have the people that they're following and they're doing confessionals. Do they pick anything up in post? That might be a question for another podcast. But as of right now, definitely a memorable finale to Squid Game the Challenge. And was this the most exciting hour of television ever? No, it was not. But was this so much better than when we played rock, paper, scissors on the first one? Yes.
Leaps and bounds better than that. Leaps and bounds. Yeah. Yes. This was like, there was definitely some of this that we could have yada-yada'd, but like.
I mean, I think they tried to yada-yada. So I think they stretched this as long as possible to get to 45 minutes. It was a lot of filler.
There really wasn't much there. Yeah, there really wasn't much there. Like we actually have one less episode than we have from season 1. Season 1 was 10 episodes. I think this is 9. So they're really trying to make this thing happen for the television, like the drama of it all. And I do think they did a good job. Like you walk away from this feeling something, whether you're feeling happy for our winner or feeling like kind of confused as to some things that happen. Maybe you have like a very touching moment with a couple of the way these people get eliminated. But I do think that the editing this season was so much better than season 1 that it makes like very clear sense why they're already preparing for season 3.
And I feel like that in season 2, they really did, especially with this finale, they really built up everybody that we got. I felt like I could tell you their names. I could tell you a little bit about everybody that was there. And so even if some of the people like a Vanessa got built up a little later on, I did feel like that I had a good sense of like who the players were, their motivations, why they needed the money, who they were feeling good about. So I really just think I remember it was there was the guy with Phil with like 2 L's, I think was his name. And he had long blonde hair. Then there was like another tall guy and I could not tell you one other person that was in the top 10.
There's no world where I could name one other person. Like I would not have gotten Phil. I would have been like, it was Mai. But this time, I think you walk away from season 2, and I think this top 5, they're not included in this second chance voting that we know is coming, but this top 5 is like a solid top 5. I think they did a good job of telling their stories, and they were all by the end. Yeah, by the end, they were all rootable characters. I think any one of them could have won, and it'd been a triumphant story in a way.
Yeah. And we are hoping to have the opportunity to talk to the winner of Squid Game, contestant number 078. Perla, we will be working on trying to find some time to talk with her and hear about how everything is going with her. I will say that at the end of season 1, they did like a bigger montage of like what a bunch of the people were up to. We really only caught up with Perla after the season. I felt like I was missing. Maybe that will come out like next week of catching up with all of the Squid Game contestants, but I don't think so.
See, that's my issue with Squid Game. Like, aside from, like a few standout characters, like it's really easy to move on to the next thing. It's like, all right, well, those 400 people are not like I have not thought about the people from season 1 of Squid Game at all, except for the ones that I've seen on other reality shows.
Yeah.
Whereas this time, I actually really want to know, like, what's been going on, what's Steven been up to, what Deja been up to. Like, there are other people in the cast that I actually care about, but I think once the show ends and we find out who has the money, it's a lot harder to be like, don't you still care about Vanessa? I'm like, kind of,
yeah.
Is she about to do something that I should care about? Like, I like they got like 3 more days to drop another episode, and then I'm done. I think I'm completely disinterested.
All right, well, let's talk through what we had happen in the finale. We were getting like a lot of the backstory about everybody, and then we had this nice dinner for everybody where ultimately there is going to be a surprise for the players. Did we learn any new information
about
like backstories? Anything jump out to you?
I think, well, we do find out a little bit more about Deja. She talks about how she's a part of the LGBTQ community and that her mom passed away from cancer recently. She got out of a relationship, and so she was saying like she's so resilient, right? She's telling her story about like how all these things are happening, how she's a single mom, but she's like pushing through for the money. They do outline these people's backstories a little bit more in depth because you really need to feel what's about to happen next, and you can't really feel it until you got a good they got a good tug on your heartstrings, right? So we lean more into Vanessa talking about her growing up on a dirt road and all of those things. We get more of Perla talking about how she wants to change like generational wealth for her family would change the DNA of where she comes from and like who she is and who her lineage will be after her. So we get a little bit more in depth, just enough for them to do like this editing thing where they say, all right, now let's turn up the emotion.
Look, I was trying to stretch this as long as we can, but let me go to the end here because I said last time I was really rooting for Deja to win. I really felt like that would have been, to me, narratively, I think that would have been such a great win for Deja, where that she was the person, she was able to sort of clock people. She had the rivalry with, not to say that Perla didn't have a rivalry with 183, but I really feel like that it was more of Deja's story towards the end, that she was not getting along with 183. And we heard about her family more and about how she's a mom. And I just felt like, I thought she had it. And I'm sure she thought she had it too. And then ultimately she gets struck down. And to me, this is so interesting. And, I'm always thinking about like, not to say the universe, but like like fate, where she was this close to winning $4.56 million. I feel like she had it. And then she gets struck down by injury, which, listen, as a Jets fan, I've seen this before. Okay.
I know this story. Yeah.
I heard a pop.
That's all you needed to know.
I feel it in my calf. That's Achilles.
We've heard that. Look, the football player, like football enthusiasts, the basketball enthusiasts, we've seen this a million times. Everybody who suffers this injury says the same exact thing.
That's a year-long injury.
A year-long injury, you might not come back at full strength. You got physical therapy coming, but once you hear the words, I felt that pop, that's it. No doctor needs to touch that woman. We know exactly what this is.
That's it. And so I really felt for Deja. And so I thought it was, no disrespect to Perla, although it probably comes across that way. But I thought that Deja really, like, I was more invested in her story by that point.
That's why I was so happy with the way the show was edited. I feel like they turned it up just to where like it was like they're dragging you in, they're pulling you in. They're like, don't you? She's right there. She has it. She's right there. Like, yes, Perla. We like Perla too, but like, what if Deja pulls it off and then they turn it up some more because they know what they're about to do. They know, like when they're watching this, it's a very tragic moment. But the producers of the show are like, that's gonna be crazy TV. That's gonna be crazy TV. Like, imagine Perla coming home and telling the story. Like, she goes to Jeffrey. She's like, "So you won?" She's like, "Yeah, I won." She's like, "What happened?" "You'll never believe it. We do red light, green light. We're at the finish line, and I'm talking about we're both neck and neck, 3 steps away, and all of a sudden, out the corner of my eye, she goes down, and it's like, wait a minute, what happened? She tore her Achilles. What? Like, I wouldn't even believe it. Like, there's no way this person tore their Achilles at the finish line of red light, green light." And Pearl's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what happened." And so that's how TV moments are made.
But just from Deja's perspective of how do you process this where, I have like minor things happen to me that are inconvenient. I'm like, why is this happening to me? I did everything right. I did everything I was supposed to do. Why, Nicole, why is this happening? She's like, "Oh, no, shut up. Who cares?" But then you're Deja. You're right there. You're about to win. Yeah. And then fate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
she wasn't like, close. With the Achilles, you just like, you're walking and it goes like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. She was like, pushing herself, exerting, running like, 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like at this exact moment.
The show does kind of breadcrumb you, like, to leading you to think that something is going to happen, because there's these moments where we're really focusing on Deja's rivalry with Steven, right? She keeps saying, "I want Steven out. I want Steven out." When they go and line up, she's like, "I need to be able to see Steven. I need to be like, I want the end so I can keep an eye on him." And then she's like, he's talking about like, "I got a lead. I have a lead on this." And she's like, "Yeah, I see him picking up speed. I need to turn it up because like I see him taking off." So now she's picking up speed. She's trying to make up the deficit, and then boom, Steven goes down. So it's kind of like, it's like she's picking up momentum to get to this win, and it's like right then they snatch it away from us. And yeah, it's universe, fate, whatever you want to call it, but you got to think back to like the words of Trinity throughout this episode. It's like, if it's for you, you will win. If it's for you, you will get the money. If it's for you, you will have that. And that's what he really believed in his heart. And now that's what Deja has to sit it with too. Yeah. Like, it was not for me. I thought it was, but it was not.
I'd love to talk to Deja. I'd love to hear how is she coping with this, because it just is like, you had it, and then it wasn't even like, oh, Perla made a move. And again, not disrespect or shade to Perla, but it was just like that totally cosmic thing happens, and she loses because of it.
But that's Squid Game. You don't have to do something wrong to lose Squid Game. There are people who got off just because they were in the wrong room in episode 1. But if this
happened in the show, if this happened in the scripted show, you would say, all right, that's a little far-fetched, okay? That's a little bit much.
It's a lot. It is a lot. Yeah. But this is a very tragic event, honestly. When I saw it, I was just like, and again, it is not even that she ruptured her Achilles during the competition. She ruptured it within mere feet of winning. And don't get me wrong, maybe Perla beats her in the foot race. We will never know. But that's the thing, we will never know. We get robbed of that moment. She gets robbed of finding out, did she have it in her? Yeah. We don't know if they take off sprinting and Perla just beats her by a hair. Like, even that would have been like a tragic story of her being like the victory being snatched from her. But this just makes it so much colder. Like, this one hits you in the heart.
Okay. Should Perla, I don't even know if you're allowed to do this. Should Perla say, "Hey, Deja, here's the 0.56 mil. Okay."
No. What? If anybody should get the money, it's Trinity, who said, "Here, take the money." Like, Deja was fine beating Perla.
Now, then give it to August too. Then give it to everybody else that sacrificed along the way.
August didn't sacrifice,
but they were a team. I feel like Perla and Deja.
No, we're taking this a little too far now. They were not no damn team. Like, when it got whittled down, they started to get closer and closer and closer, just because everybody else was leaving. But
what about the brother? Shouldn't he get something?
I mean, give the brother the money, sure. Yeah, the brother, another person who literally sacrificed himself and said, "Go on and win." But you being like, give the money to Deja because her Achilles went out. Like,
I didn't say all the money.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if we're giving away the 5-6, I think Jeffrey outflanks her.
Okay. I'll talk about Deja's story also, because it is pretty incredible that she got to this point where I feel like we see her in the dormitory. I'm trying to remember of anything like super notable that happens to her prior to Marbles. that I know that she was definitely in some of the conversations around who was the Australian guy.
Oh, what? Who are you talking about?
Sorry.
Yeah, like
Sorry.
who are you
Yeah.
talking about?
But
Oh, Shanti,
Jaunty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, she was in some of that conversation, right?
I don't remember Deja from early episodes. I don't.
Yeah.
I remember like she was there. She was clearly there. There were she was more closely aligned with Faith, if in my opinion. Like Faith was her girl. Perla had Jeffrey, and then as they were losing people, it kind of brought them all together. I think if Faith is here, I think that's probably where Deja's loyalty lies first. And so we did see Deja and Faith throughout. Faith was another one of the people. She was the one who called out Jaunty when he did his thing.
Yeah.
It was Faith who got the credit for that, but Deja was always in the mix.
But we had everything with Perla and her brother, where ultimately her brother steps aside and says that he believes in her. And what a move it was, where that he said, like, I feel like that you have the relationships that you can get to the end. And lo and behold, she did. What was next after? Was next after that? Was it the shoots and like they had like a little bit of what was going on with the sacrifice game, and then they went to slides and ladders.
Yeah, and in Slides and Ladders, her relationships really do pay off. You know, the moments where Deja and Faith are like, "No, come up here with us." You know, like those moments are them trying to save Perla. You know, like they don't have to. Perla was pretty much dead to rights. There were definitely moments where she wasn't going to make it, but she did have people looking out for her. I think she was also pretty close with Zoe, who
that was her partner on Slides and Ladders.
And in that moment, even when Zoe is her partner, Perla's like, I think it's the left. And Zoe says, I trust Perla. I'm going to Zoe before Perla to the left to see if that's correct. And then Perla gets a 100% chance of moving forward, where Zoe was willing to go 50-50 just to benefit Perla, honestly. So yeah, there are people she had shooters.
Yeah, she had a bunch. Well, she was lucky roller in the Slides and Ladders game. She kept rolling sixes, and that was like her thing. So she definitely has luck on her side in a lot of different facets. We saw where there were times in Slides and Ladders she kept getting like penalized, and she was close to the top, and she had to go back to the start, and it looked like that she had almost no shot to be able to make it to the end, and somehow she ends up really persevering to come out there. She's one of the last people to get through on Slides and Ladders, and she has like this long-standing rivalry with 183, which I do think ends up working to her advantage in the present game.
But see, that's the thing too. She has this tension with 183, but after Slides and Ladders, we really don't hear about it too much more. Like they do
it becomes the Deja's
Deja's beef, right? When he takes Steven, like kind of he targets Perla. They don't love that. Steven even says, I think everybody's taking Perla's side in this argument, so maybe I should like chill. And so when they go to the present game and they're putting the gift on everybody's desk, it never lands on her. So no one's actually targeting Perla either.
Steven gets it twice. He has two different people, and he doesn't target her because he knows she will say it was Steven.
Right, exactly. And so like because of that, she's able to slide through. And in that moment, he burns Faith. Faith is the one he burns, and that is when the ire switches from Perla to Deja, and it becomes Deja versus Steven, where Perla is now under the radar, essentially. So she's kind of like, all right, cool. Now, by the time we get to the final challenge, Steven's like, yeah, I'm over it. You know, I'm not really mad about it. But, you know, those relationships really did kind of shade her from like getting anybody to come after them. Whereas Jeffrey, we never saw him talk to anybody except for Perla. They didn't even talk that much, as well, from what we could tell. You know, they were probably trying to keep their relationship a little bit on the low, even though people knew they were siblings. It's still like you don't want to look like a tight duo throughout. And so I don't know if Jeffrey has people who are going to vouch for him in the same way people were willing to vouch for Perla.
What's your takeaway on Steven after all this? He really became a very big character in the back half of this. Probably the chief antagonist of the Squid Game in the back half, where he's feuding with Perla, feuding with Deja. He has all of his lies about poker and things he's not telling people.
I think his final episode is like a very redeeming episode for him. I think that the prior episode we got that he's lying about this money. He tells somebody about the money, and then we're like, oh God, that's gonna be his undoing. He backstabs Faith, who we all love. He pisses off Deja, who we all love. Like he's pissing off Perla, who we all love. It's like, oh, that Steven guy. I hope he loses. Then he comes in this episode. He's kind of like it's a lot more subdued. Like the moment with when Trinity is doing his big sacrifice, you can even see Steven's like, this is a joke. This isn't happening. And then he's like, oh, this is happening. And then he's the one who also calls out, oh, you're not about to eliminate yourself because that would be crazy. Like you kind of go on this journey with Steven where you can see like the humanity in his gameplay. Like, yeah, I'm not telling them people about me wanting having all this money because yeah, they're gonna think I don't deserve it because I have a lot of money already, but I also have a backstory too. I didn't grow up with just like rich or whatever. I had ebbs and flows in my life. I had difficulties too. We all have a story. And so I think by the end, I wasn't really rooting for Steven, but I wasn't actively going to be mad if he won. Like it definitely would have been a different type of story, but they really set him up to be like the last hurdle for someone like Perla or Deja to conquer to win the game.
Something I've noticed about poker players on reality TV over 25 years. I have not ever floated this theory before, but I'd love to hear what you think about it. I feel like that one consistent trait I feel like they have is that they are very vocal about like verbalizing what the situation is, like in a way that most people normally don't do, of like, well, I know that you could do this, and I can do this, and this. And they just freely describe the situation that's happening in a way that makes people uncomfortable. But for whatever reason, the poker player, it has no discomfort with sharing their view of the overview of this particular moment.
Yeah, because by profession they are gamers. You know, that is their thing. It's like we're going to logic this thing out. We're going to try to maximize our probability, and we're going to talk it through because these things make sense logically, and they operate like that in their everyday life. You know, people who operate in the health field probably think of people on a more holistic level, right? Like they're looking at, you know, how this thing affects you. But people who operate in mental health are probably always talking about how this affects you emotionally. But these poker players, they're locked in on how do you win? And so they're able to explain it in a way that really makes them good narrators a lot of times. And I think they make them good allies in the short term too. Because if you want somebody to bounce ideas off of, the poker player is going to go down that thought process with you. He's going to talk it all through with you. Now, he might reveal a little too much, which we saw. But I think it's good to have somebody who is willing to you know, in a lot of ways, not play their cards so close to their chest, you know, like, you know, when it's crazy considering they're poker players, but sometimes they are very open about strategy and what they can do to win in whatever given situation.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that there's the phrase like they hold their cards close to the vest, but
Yeah.
you have whether it's like from player 183 to Boston Rob, John Robert, Kevin Martin, Vanessa Rousseau, like
they're so wolfy.
Yeah, and they're very vocal of like, this is how I see the board, and this is what your move is, and this is what my move is, and so I just think it's an interesting observation.
There's a level of there's a level of luck that is involved in poker, right? But I think the poker player is saying, like, yes, there is luck, but here is how I looked at that and also capitalized on it, right? It's like, yes, you could be lucky in a poker game, but I have to show you that luck is not why I won. I won because I can see the board for what it is and see the maneuvers that you're going to make. I can read you. I can bluff you, all these other things. They have to tell you that because otherwise you can say, yeah, you just lucked up. And that's like probably the real poker player worst nightmare is that you just think that they don't actually have any real skill. The cards just fell in their lap.
Let's talk about where the action picks up in this episode, our final 5 challenge. And so we have our dinner and we end up learning that there is actually a game. Check your napkins, everybody. And there is a game where there are 5 coins, and then there's also a black coin. And so you have to hold one out in your hands. We saw people do this with marbles. Where's Melissa and Eric? Who's good at this?
Yeah, and it's this weird kind of relay that they have to do. Like, so the first person in the seat, which would be Steven, he would have to hold out a black marble and a gold marble in one of his hands. And then the next person in line, who would be Trinity, has like a 50-50 shot of getting that correct. If Trinity gets the black marble, then he is supposed to go to the next person. If Steven keeps the black marble for whatever reason, he then goes to the next person. The last person who is holding the marble is the person who will be eliminated. And so the goal is to make sure you unask this marble before the end of the game. The people at the later seats have less of a chance to do this. Vanessa will only have one shot at this, because by the time it gets to her, the person will be standing in front of her with a marble and a gold coin, and she would be only having to choose between those two people. If it ever gets to that point, we never see it get there.
Okay. So Steven is up first. He goes to Trinity, and Trinity says to him, hey, I want to pick the black coin. Which one? Yeah. Which one is the black coin?
And Steven's like, sure you do. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I bet you want to. You know, then
reverse psychology, everybody.
This guy here thinks he's smart. Okay, yep. Okay, well, that's the black one then. It's this one. It's this one. I promise it's this one. He's like, no, is that seriously the black one? He's like, I mean, why do you? I mean, yeah, I guess this is a weird tactic to use, but like, he's like, I want it. I want the black one. And I think at that point, I'm at home, then like, oh, I know what's about to happen here. Like, the moment Trinity asked for it, it's like, it was, because the Trinity story has always been sacrifice. You know, like, he talks about, like, I want to bear the brunt of whatever this pain is so other people don't. Like, we literally get a whole confessional about Trinity's like, if someone has to be punished, I want it to be me. That's crazy. That is a crazy thing to show us. But they showed it to us knowing that eventually, Trinity Luther King here is going to sacrifice for his people.
The irony is that, Trinity was able to skip a whole game where that he ended up getting pulled out of the slides and ladders game. He ended up like skipping that whole game. Do you think that any part of him felt like that he had like a guilty conscience about that he basically had like one whole game that he didn't have to go through?
Well, he volunteered for that too, right? Remember, that was like, he's like, I'll be the one killed here. Y'all all pair up. It's fine. He's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I'd rather it be me. So I don't know. I don't know if he had a guilty conscience from there, but I do think that final day was a surf and turf dinner that they were having. I think that's what really nails it home that he's not going to be able to be as cutthroat as we would expect him to be in this moment, because they all went around the table and just like it was kind of like they have nothing else to talk about. So they're like, so why do you want to win? Tell me your backstory. Tell me your story. What would your story be? And so they all go into these stories about how they grew up, what the money means to them, how far they can go. Even Trinity tells a story about how he needs the money. And so, but when he says, give me the black rock, I'm like, oh no. I was so sad. I was so disappointed. I really thought that, like, okay, Trinity had been one of the main characters for no apparent reason for the first couple episodes. And now here he is, just minutes away from potentially winning it all, and he's going to let it go.
Yeah. And after he picks the black coin, people are asking, wait, hold on. Are you just going to do what I think you're going to do?
Steven spoiled the episode. Steven's like, you're not going to eliminate yourself. Everybody? I'm like, Steven, you got to let him get there. Damn, you see him tearing up. He's trying to get to that reveal. Trinity got a flair for the dramatics, and Steven just stepped all over his moment.
Right. And everyone's like, no, don't do that. Play the game.
Play the game. Because they also just heard Trinity's story. Trinity said his mom has MS. She lives in North Carolina. He lives in Kansas City. She don't have a lot of friends, which is crazy to say on TV about your mama. And so this money could help her in so many ways. He could move his mom closer to him. He could get her care for her MS. I mean, MS is a really tough thing to deal with. I mean, like, she's on, like, this lady is going through. And so we're like, get her the money, Trinity. They want Trinity to win just as much as they want, like, each of them to have a fair shot at it, right? Like, they might not want to win more than they want to win, but they're like, we also don't want to be the one taking money out of your mom's mouth, either, food out of your mom's mouth or your money out of your hands. And so he's willing to go like, no, I cannot do that to y'all. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. So here we are.
Yeah. And so then he goes down the line and tells everybody, and they all believe him, and that's it.
If this is Eric that lied about having a child and all this other stuff, the one we got to interview recently, I guess our first Squid Game villain of the season. Yeah, if this is Eric does this exact same thing, but then when he gets to Vanessa, he's like, it's on the left. And then she believes him, and it's gold. And I was like,
yeah. I thought you were gonna say, does he reveal like, oh, I can't, Trinity, I have a fake kid. It's not real. Nothing. It wasn't even my birthday. I can't, Trinity.
No, Eric takes it all the way to hell.
Yeah.
Eric takes it to hell. He gets to the last two. He gets to Vanessa, and he's like, I'm keeping the black rock. Take this gold one. And he opens it and it's black. And everybody's like, oh, and he's like, boo this man, boo this man. He's like, yeah, I don't care, whatever, I do what I want. Like, a part of me would have loved to see something like that.
That's not Trinity, though.
No, it's not Trinity, and that shouldn't happen to Vanessa. She seems like a nice lady.
Yeah. Okay, and so Trinity's out. Boom. He doesn't really get like a big goodbye, and then it's just like, pop. You're done.
I feel like his goodbye was the 15 minutes that it took us to go through the Trinity goodbye. Like, like I don't think he needed anything else after that.
I've seen some people not happy with this. What do you mean he quit? There was quit at the final 5 on Squid Game?
I mean, basically, a quit, sacrifice, whatever the case may be. I think this is some of the things that August was concerned with too. Like, he was like, I didn't want people to like see me walk out of that room and whatever and feel like, oh, I gave up, but I think that Trinity, he talked a lot about his faith and how he had to be able to live with the decisions that he made because God was and Jesus was like basically influencing him to do the right thing. And for him, he felt like the right thing was not affecting these other people's chances at winning the game. He's like, that's not for me. That might be for somebody else. Maybe I got in the Squid Game and I shouldn't be here. Maybe my goal being here or my point being here was to make sure that, one of these people had the chance to go on. Just because you got to the final 5 doesn't mean you're going to win. You could get to the final 2 and then your Achilles snap. You never know. And so I think that's kind of like the Trinity story. It doesn't really bother me because, again, I think we got a good winner. It didn't feel like Trinity had been out like stealing this position from everybody else. Like I think that would feel worse. Like if Trinity was like it should have been somebody else, but instead it was Trinity. It's like, nah, Trinity just kind of seemed like a nice person who wasn't really targeted, who seemed self-sacrificial before. It felt pretty on brand when he decided to do what he did. It wasn't, as I say, it wasn't super shocking that he was going to do it. I'm shocked that he went through with it.
He had a good number too.
Yeah. What was his number?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. I mean, in this game, he was what 378, I think, in terms of, or it was 370 was something.
Yeah,
right.
No, but being in that second spot also is very good for the drama because he's like, give it to me, and then he gets to go down the line of each of them, and it's like you could still back out of this. You could still
398.
You could still back out. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do it. He could still like, no. He's in tears. You could tell it's tearing him up inside because he knows he needs the money as well. But who doesn't? We all need the money.
Yeah. What do you think it was about this for Trinity? Was it, and we know he is a religious person, was it that he just could not see himself being the one to take it from somebody else? Do you think that he didn't want to see anybody else lose?
He is too pure for this game. He should not have been in the Squid Game. Like, to me, like if Trinity is my loved one and I know them, like, and I know him inside and out, then he tells me he's going on Squid Game and I would say, why are you doing that? Like, that would be my next question. I'd be like, that's not for you. That's for people who are cutthroat, who would like to, who have no issue, taking money from people, who have no issue affected. Like, Trinity, that's not you. Like, I would have told him that from jump. So then when he comes home after his Squid Game, he's like, I quit. I would be like, I'm not surprised because that's not you. You were never supposed to be in that position. I think we see people in reality TV shows a lot like this, who they get to that and they're like, this isn't me. I wasn't supposed to do this. This wasn't like, I didn't enjoy this. I don't think Trinity would look back on his time in Squid Game fondly, even if he had won. I think he would still kind of looked at it and been like, I'm happy I got the money, but I think he feels some type of level of guilt for winning.
Yeah, he's somebody else. I think that this would be super interesting to hear what he has to say about why does he make this decision that he makes, because he's so close to it.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like he has any enemies, like where we see Deja being like, given the opportunity, I am going to eliminate Steven. Like, nobody throughout the entire show ever says a negative thing about Trinity. So it's kind of like he's got it. If he could just get through this little black rock thing, and he has 3 chances to get through it, well, basically 4 chances if he can get past Steven. So like all like Steven has to get Trinity the rock. At that point, Trinity still could give it to Perla. He could give it to Deja. He could give it to Vanessa. There's so many outs here.
Yep.
And he just he couldn't do it. Just didn't have it in him.
Okay. So that's it. Trinity, he sacrifices himself and we get down to the final 4 and we end up walking through the game tower one more time to get to She's back. It's
Sarah
red light,
Beth.
green light.
You were right. You called it. You were like, look, they have the opportunity to the coolest thing. They can bookend this show by starting season 1
with
red light, green light and ending season 2 with red light, green light.
How does the song go? Something like that, right?
Something like that. Yeah. And I was like, Sarah Beth, she's back.
She's back.
She's back with a vengeance.
She's back and ready to go. And yeah, I think that what's fun about red light, green light was that in the original red light, green light, like it's timed. Like you have like 8 minutes to get across the thing. Everybody that gets across wins. But this is like real red light, green light, where one person is going to win. So you're in a race. And even if somebody gets out to a big lead, they could fall or rupture their Achilles or move, and then they're out.
My question about this was, when Deja goes down, is Perla now the winner, or does she also have to finish?
She should have just won. That's it. That once Deja is out, game over. But I think just run across the finish line. That'll be more dramatic. But no, at that point, she's the winner. Like you can't end the Squid Game and have no winner.
And you have to imagine this took a long time, right? Because Deja, she hears the pop. She's standing there trying to hold it together. She's like, I know I'm going down. Eventually, she goes down. Ain't no telling how long she stood there. But for the show, it looks like she tried to hold it together. She goes down. She hits like the Peter Griffin, like, like she hit that one. And then at some point, the medical staff has to come in and get her out of the way. You know, like, so she had to be removed.
To go back to your question about does she have to finish, I think the better question would have been if Perla had also moved.
Right, that's my question.
That same spot where it's like, okay, they're both eliminated. Is it like now? Do we go back to like the replay and then we have to see who moved first, and then that person is out and the other person is de facto the winner?
I mean, even if Perla, let's say Perla was miles behind.
Need a booth review.
Yeah, but like let's say Perla was miles behind Deja, like feet, hundreds of feet, and Deja was clearly about to win, and then she goes down. Perla hasn't moved yet, but she also nowhere near where Deja is. Does she automatically win, or is she still required to red light, green light her way to the end? Like,
I think she should automatically win. I think that's what the rules should be. I think that like the more interesting question is if they're down to the final 2 and they both moved at the same time after the red light, and then okay, now it's time we got to shoot both of them. Like, do they both live?
Right.
Is it whoever moved first? So I think that that's a really interesting question, but not one that
we'll never know.
Have to deal with. We'll never know.
Yeah, I think that Deja going down really leads Perla with like maybe 10, 20 minutes of probably just standing there like, did I just win the game? Because they have to get Deja they have to get her off the ground. You know, like this is still, we got the edited version of this, but it's not like she runs past her lifeless body laying there. They have to come in with like a gurney.
Yeah,
probably.
I do wonder at what point like they have to like, okay, we need medical to come in. Like, do they take her out? Like, do they get to bring out the cart?
It's an Achilles tear. She probably was screaming at one point. You know what I'm saying? Like after like the adrenaline wears off, there's no way that she wasn't like
you can't put any weight on it. You can like you see like people with like a guy on each side, and then they're sort of like just like hopping on like one leg.
And she's also not a professional athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like those people are like trained to deal with this kind of stuff. She's a tough one, but I don't think the Achilles tear. That's a crazy injury. Like I know that they were probably like, hey, we got to get this lady to a hospital, you know? So I don't know how long Perla is standing there like, did I win yet? Did I win yet? But she won, and it was very triumphant. It was such a moment. I was like, I felt something there. I didn't really, the Trinity thing was like tugging at your heartstrings, but the Perla win really did feel like, damn, like we were here for her entire journey.
Let's talk about the actual red light, green light in terms of what happened. They built up Vanessa a lot in this episode. We haven't talked too much about her. Vanessa from Big Brother Canada, number 17, right? In your program. And I'm like, okay, I thought they were really like giving her like the most confessionals we've had of her the whole season. I felt like, okay, here she is out of nowhere. And I really thought they opened the episode on her. I was starting to think that like, okay, maybe she comes in and steals it. And then instantly just, I don't even know what she was thinking. Like, it was like, did she know the rules of red light, green light?
She said it. She said, I'm going to try to get out in front. I'm going to try to sprint. Like, she's like, I'm going to attack this with speed. We get their all perspectives, like, you know, and they're probably doing this confessional after the, like you said, afterwards or whatever, and talking their way through their thought process. But she says, speed is what I'm thinking of. And then you cut to Perla, who says, I know this isn't about speed. Me and my brother Jeffrey played this all the time. It's not about speed. It's about being, you know, methodical with your movements. And so Vanessa, we see, gets a jump on everybody. But I mean, the stopping, red light, green light is about the stopping. It's not about can you go fast. It's about can you stop before she turns around.
She came in and tried to YOLO Leroy Jenkins this thing.
She was like, if I could just get ahead of everybody.
If I could just get run through the whole thing, just like get to the finish line in one shot.
Yeah, she tried to stop. The momentum is always going to get you. Red light, green light. I mean, maybe they don't have that on her island in Canada. I don't know if there's like a thing.
Was she not familiar with how the average length? Did she not see the original Squid Game? Did she think, considering her fisherwoman background, that Squid Game involved actually getting in a boat and catching squid?
No, I don't think so. I think that she's a Big Brother Canada player. She's attuned to these reality show competitions. Probably, I think what it is probably she just attacked it with the wrong strategy. Listen, it's not about speed.
Chappell, if she should have taken anything away from her time in Big Brother Canada 8, she should have been very familiar with quickly stopping.
I mean, yeah, that too. But yeah, she's been snatched out of the game.
Season was like green light, red light, red light. Everybody get out.
Do you think that weighed on her? Do you think that's part of the reason why she attacked it so hard? Is that like this is her moment, right? Like she had Big Brother in her mind. I could have won Big Brother Canada, and then because of the world, like look, because of fate, right? Something unthinkable happened. A pandemic happened. A worldwide, disease is going around, virus or whatever is going around. We have to shut down this game that I've been trying to get on. I thought I had it. I thought I could have won the game. It was right there. And to no problem of my own, to no doing of my own, it was snatched away from me. I'm not going to let it slip through my fingers this time. I'm just going to get out in front of it. And maybe that motivated her to go a little too fast.
She went too fast, and ultimately she's out. It's not even close. It's like, boy.
She's first. I think they waited too long to shoot her. I think that for me, that like
they're trying to stretch it out the episode.
Yeah, they were giving the like suspense, but in my mind, it should have been like the clear.
Yeah, that was an easy call. We didn't need them like.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it should have been like faster because that would have scared everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, whoop,
Yeah. Okay, and then 183, he looks like the favorite. He's out to a pretty good lead, and he's moving fast. And I think that Deja and Perla were a little scared, but then he just trips.
He fell. Yeah. He fell. Yeah. Those shoes they're wearing are awful. I look, I'm not gonna start caping for the contestants, but him tripping and then also Deja tearing her Achilles. What are y'all wearing? Why are y'all doing this foot race?
You think?
Why are y'all doing a foot race in the tuxedo? I thought
it was very interesting that Perla ran it with the jacket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are we doing? Give them back the jumpsuits.
Yeah. Although I will say that, like, in the original Red Light, Green Light in season 1, famously, that was like you heard horror stories about how it was like, 30 degrees and everybody was like freezing for hours and hours and hours as they checked the tape over and over again. So maybe Perla, either she heard some of those stories or it might have been just freaking cold.
That's why I was fascinated with the amount of time that probably elapsed from the moment Deja goes down from when Perla actually wins. Because not only do they have to be like Deja fell, they have to address her medically, and then they have to make the call. Like, this is an injury, but like you still lose.
And if it's cold and you're like
that's
shivering,
a conversation that has to happen while Perla is standing there like this, trying not to freeze to death.
I think they probably called some sort of like, okay, timeout.
You think so?
I think so. If they were doing medical treatment on Deja, like I would think that they probably gave okay, don't move, stand where you are, or like at least like put like the golf quarter on her spot where she was.
Does that take away from the moment for you, Rob? It's like if you you're like I just won, but I also kind of have to go through this theater of like I didn't really win yet, but like I gotta stand here. Then I walked off to the side, got some water while they're working on Deja.
Not. I would be fine. I would
the
be
way I'm
in
like,
some
damn,
ways,
Deja.
you could savor it. You could like really like, I'm about to win.
I'm really about to win. Like there's nothing they can do to stop me. This is crazy. Like, what should I do across the finish line? Should I like Marshawn Lynch this? Like
yeah. About to win is better than winning. It's like, I can't believe it. I'm about to win.
You're
it's all downhill from winning.
Yeah, you're on the edge, man. You know how that is. You're just like right there. Like you're about to go. Yeah. You're about to you're like,
that's the ideal.
Like,
yeah.
Whew, yeah. Now I need a cigarette.
Okay. So there it is. I mean, that's your Squid Game, baby.
Yeah. Steven goes down. We're left with Deja and Perla. They're neck and neck. I mean, like when they show a shot across, they could be standing next to each other. And it's going to come down to a literal foot race. And sadly, Deja's body is not able to cope with whatever is going on with the movement that she makes or whatever the case may be. I think the awful shoes are to blame as well. But that's just me, a shoe enthusiast. Yeah. But yeah, she loses. She goes down. Perla crosses the finish line, and then she is presented with her Squid Game debit card. For all her money.
Okay. Squid Game winner rankings.
Perla, my. I don't remember mine.
What about the guy from the first Squid Game?
Perla, the guy from the first Squid Game, mine.
Yeah. Oh, he's better. Perla's better than the guy.
The guy from the first Squid Game has questionable morals. Like, I'll put it like that. Perla seems like a nice person. I can't root for him. I need him to go take care of his child.
Yeah.
Go be a father, sir. Why are we here? No, Perla's story really
Gi-hoon?
Yeah, Ki-hoon. Perla's story really resonated with me, especially when she talks about how her mom, her mom is like, okay, I came over to New York. I saved up money to bring my kids over. And then she talks about how every woman in her family have done one more thing to kind of liberate the rest of the women in the family, up to the point where Perla is able to do something like this. And like, she doesn't come from money. She talks about how she's from the Bronx and all this other stuff. But like now, her kids or her family or whatever, they won't have to do those sacrifices. They won't have to change countries and save up to make these moves. She has $4.56 million.
Squid Game.
Right. They don't. She can like legitimately change her life, but also the lives of the people around her for generations if done properly. And so I thought that was such a cool story. I thought for me, that was the story that like hit me the most. And so I was so happy with the Perla win. Of course, I obviously like you can't not root for Deja in these moments, but with Perla won, I was just as happy.
Yeah. And then we did get to see her reunited with her family, with the brother.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
How many lines did Jeffrey get throughout these episodes? What, 1, 2? Like, tell me everything you know about Jeffrey from his perspective.
So I feel like from his
perspective, not Perla talking about Jeffrey, but Jeffrey, like, what were Jeffrey's thoughts?
I don't know what his thoughts are. I know that they like had like some sort of like they're like opposites. And then they were talking about, would we be friends if we were brother and sister?
I think Perla said that. I don't know. I would love the Jeffrey cut.
He's generous Jeffrey, they call him.
Man, I think that they use him as basically like the Perla's putting her family on her back. Like Jeffrey is the one. He's the fallen thing that like now she has to go avenge. He's Nadia going out in the first boot, and then Natalie going on to win it all, and San Juan does her. Like that's what the Jeffrey storyline was. And so I was very happy to see Perla coming back and partying up with her family. She got to go back to her family and tell them all that she won. They're very happy. I'm hoping that they're doing well.
Yeah. And then they go on this vacation together at the end of the episode.
How much money is Jeffrey entitled? Like, I'm using the word entitled, but I'm using it like tongue in cheek. But like Jeffrey legit made the decision for them.
Yeah.
You are going to go win this game for us.
I think, first off, most popular Jeffrey in America.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Top 1.
Yep. Not even close. And I think you should like hook him up. I don't think he gets access to like a debit card.
What? He can't get a little account?
I don't think so. I don't think he can just make withdrawals.
No.
Yeah.
She got to put she has to like set up like a little fund for Jeffrey. Like, all right, like she gets $4 million probably before taxes, right, or something like that. So she probably like looking at like $2-ish million after taxes. I think that's how it works. And so like he'd probably get a few $100,000. Like I'd have to assume Like the 0.56.
I don't know if she writes him a check. I think it's maybe like, hey, I'll buy you a car. I'll buy you. I feel like it's buy actual objects as opposed to like, here's, you know, she's going to like cut him a check, make it rain on Jeffrey.
Yeah. Or it's like, if he wants, he don't have to want for anything anymore. Right. Like, it's like Jeffrey might not get the money, but if me and Jeffrey doing something, I got it. Right. Like Jeffrey, if we going out to eat, Jeffrey, my treat. Like, stop it. Your money's no good.
He's not paying anymore.
Please. Yeah, please. Don't put your hand down. No, you don't have to put in for stop playing with me, Jeffrey. Like, I feel like that's the relationship that I would want. Like, yeah.
Okay, let's do one more piece of Squid Game business. They announced that somebody was coming back for Squid Game Season 3, and we're very excited to announce there are 5 finalists now for who will come back and play in Squid Game Season 3. And there is another fan vote, and Netflix has announced that vote for your favorite player and click and submit below. This is on the Netflix To-Doom website. It's Zoe, player 369.
Hey, that's a decent number.
Real good time.
Yeah.
And she was Perla's partner. She was right there. She went down the wrong slide.
Get low.
2 cliffhangers.
Get low.
Yeah.
Get
she got too low. She got too
From the window to the walls.
Okay. We've got Viper is back.
Yeah.
Potentially. Viper.
We
went
saw
down
him
in catch. Tried to get that guy to turn around. He did.
He did. And you probably should have threw it to someone else.
Okay. Look who it is. It's our friend, Mark Levy, player 100.
Not to put my thumb on the scale, but
yeah. We don't know these other people.
Yeah, we don't know this. Who's the twin? And who's the 5th one?
And then we got both the twins, Raul and Jacob. Like, first off, what the hell?
What the hell, man?
Like, you listen.
What
First
the
off,
hell?
the twins weren't even likable. And second, how did they vote 2 of them in? They didn't split the vote. Was it people like, oh, I'm going to vote for the twin? Which one was I going to vote for? Was it 4-3-1? And then people just like they got enough.
Yeah, I just vote for both.
What the hell?
Yeah, the
Who
twins.
Would even know which one is back?
Like, oh no, like you're a Raul guy.
With all due respect to Raul and Jacob, who I'm sure are great.
But like you're at home, like, ooh, I'm voting for Jacob. I can't believe you would vote for Raul.
You know, I love the twins. Bring them back. I need to see him again.
You're the team Edward or your team Jacob. You know, you got to pick a side. Team Raul, team Jacob. You know, you got to choose one. To me, I don't like this. Can I say that? I don't like this. I don't like this.
Why don't you like it?
Because like most things, you know, I'm a Big Brother fan. I can tell you when production is wanting you to do a thing. And these people, they don't control their edit. Netflix controls their edit. So when Netflix is editing the show and making they know that they're about to do a fan vote for season 3. They know who the big characters are. Like if I'm like contestant 12, I have no shot in this. You didn't even show me. What about my second chance? You could have put me on screen a little bit. You could have gave me something. These people, I could have told you episode 1 that these were going to be the 5 people that we were voting on.
But what are you mad about?
I just don't. I feel like don't call it a fan vote if you just gonna tell us who to vote for. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. If it's Mark Levy,
but there was a fan primary.
I feel like something like that. Like I feel like we gotta
But that was the first round.
But no. But you already told us who to vote for. It's like their campaign was the show we watched, and you only showed us these 7 people. And so it's like, well, of these 7 people, who am I going to pick? Like of these, outside of these 5 people, you got August, who probably was in a contender. You got Eric, who probably played his way out of the running. You got Zoe's dad. You got Faith.
Yeah.
You know,
the timing of when they did it, I think you probably think like Deja and Trinity are probably like in the mix to get this. Like if they run the vote a week later.
If they did it today, I think Deja wins all the time. Like 100% of the time.
They didn't do it today.
Right. I think they're like Squid Game season 3 is filming next year. Can Deja? To me, that's a better story. You do it after the finale and you're okay.
Listen, you have 456 spots. Like this isn't like Survivor 50. Just bring a bunch of them, but bring up like 56 returning players. Who cares?
Who wouldn't even know? We wouldn't know.
Because you need people. Like if you bring back just bring back one player 100. Yeah, people will be excited to see him, but there's going to be some troublemaker that's like, all right, you had your time. That's it.
Raul,
I'm eliminating
Jacob.
player 100.
Yeah.
You need a lot of returning players.
I agree. If Mark comes back, he has a target on his back, because there are people who will be like, oh no, I loved Mark season 1. I want to work with him. I love blah, blah. And
but
then there
Mark,
are people.
You better not be pulling a Trinity if you go back. I don't want to see that you get to the final 5 and then you're like, I love everybody too much.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at August crazy. I ain't voting for you, August.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust him. He's like, I made all these friends. I love everybody. No. I need the people who are coming in to lie and cheat and steal their way to the end, and then they can lose, and I can be like, I'm very happy for the person who didn't do all that. I love them. You know, like that's what I'm looking for. Pure Squid Game. Y'all making too many friends here.
Yeah. Okay. Click back on November 25th to find out who will return in season 3. So we'll find out soon.
Yeah, in a week. So we'll know.
Right, let's just say hypothetically, let's say it's Mark. Let's say he gets on. What does he do? Does he go into like rigorous training for Squid Game? What do you do for like a year until they make more Squid Game?
Throw the tennis ball.
Just practice.
Yeah, practice
bouncing it off the wall.
I'll be catch every day with a professional. You remember that show MTV Made? Where they're like, I want to be made into something like that. Mark should be like, I want to be made into an outfielder. You know, like he should be standing in the back, and someone should be like hitting baseballs. Hitting pop flies in there. He should be like, I'm sorry, because if they bring back Mark, you got to bring back catch, right? It's what is the story if Mark's not catching the ball again, right? We have to have that moment of him like, and now a year later, back to face his biggest fear.
Such a crapshoot that he practices for a year. He's catching shagging fly balls, and then it's like, all right, pick an X or an O, and half the people are gone. Okay,
you give him a pass. You make him one of the team captains, like you did the Twins, and then this team lost, but Mark, you're still alive. We did it. And then the very next challenge, catch. Like the very next challenge. I don't know how you do it, but you get this man a tennis ball.
One half of the room is heads, the other half is tails. Now we're gonna flip a coin, and that's it.
Bye, Mark.
All right.
But again,
that's
still a story.
How we do it on the Squid Game. Now that's how you do it on the Squid Game. Should the front man say that?
Yeah, probably. But I think that's what annoys me about this vote, right? It's very Jeff Survivor 50 coded, right? Where he's like, if you want to be on Survivor 50, you need to play the game. And then immediately after, we get like the glowing edits for the 2 people who just happen to come back for Survivor 50. He's like, see, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, okay.
Do you think that maybe it's possible that should they have cut away to when Trinity gave up his spot to everybody? Like, should they have cut to the front man being like, you made me cry. I've never cried before on the Squid Game in all of the seasons of the Squid Game that we've done. And this is the first time because I make sacrifices too.
Yeah. I had to call my son. To me,
front man. Who's your favorite player? I was like, well, there was this guy Trinity. He made this big sacrifice. He's really great guy.
The CEO award of the season. I know you said like if the vote was done like today that Trinity would be a shoot. Trinity is not getting voted back into the Squid Game. Like we're not voting you in for you to do the same thing twice. Well, I'm not doing it.
He would get votes. You're saying that we shouldn't vote him in.
No. Look, love Trinity. I told you, one of my favorite characters from episode 1. But I'm not doing this for him to get to red light, green light, and be like, no, run past me. No, Trinity, red you had light. Your time. You had. I can't do it. Shoot me now, Sarah Beth. Like, nah, Trinity, go do on a different. He could go on and do it on a different show. He cannot do this show anymore. Like, Trinity, you could have had it all. Yeah, I know, but I just wanted to get shot.
Trinity, you're not going back.
Yeah.
Chappell said no.
I can't vote for him. Sorry. Well, not that it would matter now. The final 5 is here. Yeah.
We treat him to some orange juice, though, right?
Oh, dear God, I hope so. That's the first thing Perla should buy that man. Is some like here is a case of orange juice.
Okay.
And not that.
Right, anything else about nonsense. Squid Game?
Nope.
The challenge season 2.
Very happy with this season. It was not
fun.
It was not nearly as boring as the end of season 1. The end of season 1 is damn near unwatchable. Like pretty much like you could not. I mean, you could pay me to do it again, but like I would just not be signing up to watch season 1 again. If you told me to watch season 1 in preparation for season 2, I wouldn't, because I did that last couple episodes is just unbearable. But this,
it was the last episode in particular. I remember that we had done the live show. I think we were in New Orleans, and I remember watching it on the plane coming back, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Right, like literally an hour of nothing.
freaking rock, paper, scissors.
And we had to sit through like 30 minutes of it. Like rock, paper, scissors was longer than red light, green light was. It was the longest game of rock, paper, scissors that ever happened. And so this is leaps and bounds better. I loved it. Yeah. And now that we know season 3 is coming, I'm only expecting them to do better. I'm thinking that now that they kind of figured it out, that we're going to get more good. Like the show, the game in and of itself is stupid. I don't like it. But the show is really good when they lean into some of their more creative editing. And I really enjoy what we got so far.
All right. We've got plenty more Survivor. We'll pick that back up tonight. Episode number 9 of Survivor 49. Chappell and I got together on Club Condo, talked about so many things, including the brand new CBS Survivor calendar. Well, they have to make a Squid Game calendar.
We could do
a daily calendar, 365 day people.
How do you eliminate the other people though? There's like 100 some odd people that we would have to account for.
Like all stars from season 1 and season 2.
They get grandfathered into season.
Are there 365 memorable? The most 365 memorable people.
They showed us 40 people max that were memorable, like max. I'm being very.
Can we include Guion, the old man?
Yeah, from Squid Game. Yeah, all of it is canon now.
Front man, it's all canon.
Yeah, okay. That I can kind of get with. I can get with all of it. All Squid Game people are on the table.
Okay. All right. Chappell, what else is coming up for you?
This, I think Shannon and I are going to try to bring more Netflix content next week by talking about Nobody Wants This. So check that out. We did season 1 of Nobody Wants This here on Nothing But Netflix, and so we'll have that coming soon. I've also been told I need to check out Physical Asia. And so I think there's a Physical 100 Asia. And so I think I'm going to check that out for Nothing But Netflix. We got a lot of Nothing But Netflix content coming your way because it's the holidays. You know, Netflix loves to show up with some Christmas stuff. Yeah. So tune in. More Nothing But Netflix, Nothing But RHAP on social media, and then subscribe to the podcast, nothingbutpod.com.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for Squid Game, the challenge. We'll bring you some interviews, we hope, in the next couple of days as well. So be on the lookout for that. Take care. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.